Hello there everybody, welcome to this week's review of Lines, which was the challenge for last week. First off, one of the things I quite like to do, which I probably hark on about quite a lot, is abstract photography, whereby we're shooting an image and we're kind of cropped in close, or there's some manipulation on that image so we're not sure what it is, but it creates something new almost. And the idea of this week was to shoot things with lines in. So we're looking at horizontal, vertical, diagonal, whatever way, and it's open to interpretation, as you will see through this. So whilst it is just lines and it's very ambiguous, that's the idea. It's about you being creative and you using just all the kind of skills and knowledge within your repertoire that you've developed as photographers now. So I was really pleased to kind of look through this through the week and see, a variety of different images. And absolutely brilliant, more so than a lot of weeks. I know I always say this, I could have chosen at least all of them or 20. I could have literally chosen all of them because they're absolutely brilliant, and I think this shows that this is where you all shine, and it's really pleasing because it is such a, not only just abstract photography, but just being creative with a very simple brief is an exceptional talent. So you should all be really, really pleased just to be able to interpret that and come up with something. You're seeing something, and that's the thing. You can teach all of the techniques in terms of how to use a camera and the settings and all that kind of stuff, and this is what you need to get that great shot. But the eye, teaching that and training somebody to see something and interpret and capture that, well, I don't know whether you can, so hats off to all of you for not only this week but for all the weeks. So let's jump in because I've waffled. Okay, like I say, some really, really great ones this week, and I've picked some that again show a little bit of kind of variety in terms of the way that variety in terms of the interpretation of the brief. So first up, John. Again, like with a lot of these that you're starting to take now, there's kind of layers of meaning within them, which is fantastic. So yes, on the surface we can see this is full of lines, trolleys stacked up and the way that trolleys are made, lines all over the place, great colours, nice contrast with the orange, and almost kind of the chrome effect. But what I also like is the kind of symbolism of lines and waiting, and shopping has been one of those things where we've seen a lot of lines. So how symbolic that it is, kind of trolleys that make it onto that, in terms of that's what we kind of, it's synonymous with shopping, isn't it? So that's why it works on a few different levels. So it's a great shot, and the angle as well, John, is fantastic. Just to make it a little bit more kind of abstract, we still know it's shopping trolleys, but the angle itself offers a little bit more intrigue, so I think that works really well. Another one of yours, beautiful in black and white, fantastic lines, and again that's what is great about this week's task, is you're thinking about how best to shoot. So this in colour probably would look nice because I'm not sure what the surface is, but there's some lovely light reflection on there. But then changing it, getting a monochrome shot, is just how it brings out, and that's the thing with this, with the lines anyway, is the contrast, the black and the white, the darks and the lights, and that's what really stands out here. I actually really love this customer parking here. Quite a small sign and you wouldn't notice it. A little bit tongue-in-cheek, which works really well again. But on the surface, yeah, I love this. It's just so clean and crisp. Guy, these two are absolutely wonderful. So just a little bit more cropping, but not even. I actually quite like the top line. And that's a great kind of abstract image, because we're not sure. Yeah, it could be, but why would there be two brushes on top of each other? Or is it a reflection of the brush? But it works so well in this depth of field we've got here. So we've got our thin band of focus here, and these areas left and right are out of focus. It draws us in a bit more to the lines as well, but it's really nice. And again, how well it works in black and white, because look at the detail that it draws out with the contrast. Really, really good. And I loved this one as well, because you know, and that's the thing I was hoping for, and that's the thing that you do anyway. And I don't mean to sound kind of patronising, that kind of, I'm really impressed that you're doing this, because you do it anyway. But looking for, as we were, lines this week, this is great. Looking up, and the light as well. So you've got your light source coming up, which as the contours change with the lines is getting darker and creating shadows. We've got loads of different tones. Again, the black and white works so well. So there's two really, really good shots there this week, Guy. Really good. As were your others, but again, I can't include everything. But Paul, nice to see that you've been out and about safely, I hope. So lines, and we talked about shopping, and again, something that's kind of in our minds at the minute is queuing and lines. So this is some lovely kind of street photography that you've got here, that you've been out of people queuing for the coffee. So that's what we're going to see a lot of, and I'm quite pleased that that's been your interpretation this week. I was hoping that someone would think, if they were feeling safe and if they were out, there are lines all over the place, and none more so with us kind of queuing up for things, a sign of things to come. And maybe this will be a regular view. I know we always joke about how conservative we are in terms of queuing and the Brits queue or whatever, but there's something a little bit more stark about this, because it still feels kind of quite new. So I think it's a really nice shot. That lovely background as well, isn't it? Really good. Kath, you took some lovely ones this week. It's nice to see that you've been out thinking about your lines. This one really kind of stuck out to me. Such intricate nature of lines, and again, as with Guys, we've got just a kind of shallow depth of field on a band of lines here. We're out of focus here, so as our perspective is drawn away, that's out of focus, so we're leading to this area here, which is great. And I love this behind as well, just cuts in completely through the image. You imagine taking that away, it would still be kind of nice, a quite nice abstract image with lines, but then you've got this just jolting and bolting through, and I just think it makes it really ping and stand out. It's a really, really good image, that. Paul, one presumes it's a bag, but we don't really care, because it's quite a lovely abstract image, because we've got loads of jagged lines because of the way that this kind of bag or top has been crumpled and manipulated. So what once were, as we can see, the lines would have been straight. So we've got them kind of twisting and moving, and the light's just catching off here really nicely on the surfaces. Again, and the black and white works so well just to draw that out, because those light areas then really stand out from the dark. But it is actually the dark areas that we're drawn to, because we're just leading those lines over as they kind of wave through this image. So it's really nice, that. Nancy, you've uploaded some really lovely ones this week, and I think some of these were in the Sagrada Familia, I think, because I recognised some of the other ones, and the lines in there, if anyone's ever been to Barcelona, just unbelievable, they really are. But you've done so well to draw out the detail around here, and the contrast of the black and white is just beautiful. The lines draw us all the way in to this symbol in the middle, which is just absolutely beautiful. So really good shot, Nancy. I like that you've kind of thought and looked through some of your other work to pick that for it to fit today. So really lovely stuff. And you took some really nice stuff in Barcelona, it seems, as well. Next up, Vanessa. Nice to see an image from you, Vanessa. So we've got a table here, and what's really nice about this is that it just kind of like slams straight at you. We've got this lovely kind of leading line to the corner of the table, and what works well is we've got a kind of this dark tabletop, so the grain was really drawn out, and we can see it's kind of like spreading from the corner of the table. You've got light background, which again helps draw out the contrast and the grain within those lines. So it's a really nice shot. Steph, this was a really good one. Right up my street. This is proper, for me, kind of, if we were looking at just abstract lines in terms of creating an abstract image or a piece of art, this is what it would be kind of. So we've got these lovely kind of lines leading us up, so great perspective. The contrast of the black and white with the light on there is fantastic, with the mid-tones of the grey. But it's it's just such a lovely image. So very crisp as well. Excuse me. I think it just works really well. Very good job. And back to gallery. Paul, another great one on the train to Manchester. Essential travel only. So this one is, again, really interesting. Like with the street photography, we've got lines, and the lines that are very much kind of symbolic of how people are feeling and what the state of norm is now. So taken a few months ago, this would just be a standard shot of a train carriage. Nothing much to see here, so it's normal. But the new norm is, I think, what's kind of more shocking and harrowing about this image, because we've got all these out of use signs on there, and it's something that we're all trying to get to grips with, but it doesn't make it any less unsettling, and I think that's what works really well about this. Again, it's just lines, but the meaning within that. Steph, that's good to see actually. So this app called Snapseed for your phone camera is really interesting. Adds text, adds colours, you can manipulate, you can add layers as well. So it's a really fun app just for kind of enhancing your images and doing something different. So when you've got these briefs and you think, you used it really well with the film posters, how can I do this differently? Well, you can just, already you think, yes, I can do that. And that's what you would be able to do with your Photoshops and stuff like that. But anyway, so this is lovely. It's almost like a stylish shot for a book. It's beautiful. The kind of orange tones work really well on this, just to draw out that kind of colour that you would associate with a page on a book. So it works really, really nicely. And the lines that are drawing through. So as the kind of light is filtering through and getting darker, we have these lovely contrast on the contours on the page. So honestly, great week. I'm so pleased with this one, as I am each week. But just feel like you've stepped up to the challenge this week, which is what this is all about. It's about getting out there, it's about looking, it's about interpreting, and how you can best think about what the task is, what it means to you as well. That's important.